We've been working with experts from the autism community for past 5 years. This technology is going to introduce individualized intervention in a very cost-effective way, utilizing technology, where the child will able to learn anytime, any place.
Autism is an interesting disorder. The general theme is problems in the social and emotional domain, interacting with people.
Well, autism is really one of the most significant issues in the field of education. One of the challenges is that there really aren't enough programs that utilize technology to take advantage of the opportunities to really help students be the most they can be.
In all of medicine, in all of psychology, and in all of education, the areas that impinge most upon this problem, in all those areas, the earlier that you treat, the more likely you're going to have success.
We started working with experts from the autism community and children with autism 5 years ago. And from working with experts, we end up developing this I Learn and Earn Generation 1 app and a kiosk-based application, which is working with children with autism globally and almost delivering over 5,000 sessions every day. Now we are launching this I Learn and Earn Generation 2. So what we are doing is, we are delivering intervention in the classroom utilizing kiosk or iPad and extending this to homes where parents can work with their children and deliver the same consistent intervention at home, which is going to be based on Eden's infant and toddler curriculum, age 2 to 5.
Eden Autism Services is actually a program for children, adults, and families who are impacted by autism. We're highly data-driven. We collect a lot of data in order to make decisions on how to modify interventions and teaching strategies. We've worked with Nish and I Learn and Earn to look at incorporating teaching strategies that were consistent with our curriculum. So we had them come in. Nish set up a kiosk in one of our classrooms, and we had several students who worked through that to help develop the kinds of skills and behaviors that would be beneficial to our specific population.
So what we did was actually work on the design and development of the kiosk. You would log in with your fingerprint instead of typing, since they had motor challenges. In addition to that, we had a camera inputted in there so that as the kids and children are playing the game, we were actually recording all of their facial expressions, which was also part of the data collection model.
With many of our students, they really want to be actively involved in computer games, colorful, musical, those kinds of stimulating activities.
It did give me a little game about cars, and I had to touch those cars, and it's like fun and exciting.
So over time, we were able to look at not only the skills that were acquired, but also the interactiveness of the programs.
So my dad has created this project, I Learn and Earn. My involvement in this project is that I have created many voiceovers for all of his games, and I've given feedback for all his visuals. We are looking for more support from more people.
I really like the idea of customizable software. I think it adds a sense of familiarity to the individual, whereas if you have an app and you want to teach the young child who their parents are, you can take a picture of their parents and say, these are your parents and your parents only.
If we can have the technology that can provide them a mechanism to engage and to improve their focus of attention by involving them, interacting with those devices, then that would be the first step.
With our Eden Outreach Services, we can bring these skills, bring these games much beyond the classrooms that we have here. So even locally through public schools and private schools, Nina Finkler will be able to bring these games to those families, to those teachers, to those students. But even more globally, with the World Wide Web, we are now getting requests to access these skill games from all over the world.
I think we're starting to see a little bit more willingness by educators to not think of games as something that is play, but also as a viable teaching method. One of the things, particularly for students with autism, that they require is opportunities for practice, opportunities for repetition, as well as opportunities for generalization. Giving them those opportunities in a game format is something that's not only beneficial teaching-wise, but it also serves as a platform for social interaction, is a way to carry over what they're learning in school into the home setting. By bringing that in as a mode of teaching really enables the students to not even realize that they're learning.
Let's bring the technology to autistic children to have them that joy of accomplishment so that they can learn faster and they can be an integral part of our society.
Right, well, I think the Colors program has been great for the students, especially now that it's been a lot of, there was a lot going on at first, and now that it's simplified, it's very consistent, which I think really caters to our students' strengths. And I think the students have really, it's been very reinforcing to our students because they get an immediate reinforcement, and the consistency of it has been great for them.
I think right now there's so many things to choose from. It's been hard for Mrs. Turk and I to actually sit down and decide which programs each of the children should work on. But what I do like about it is the ability to go in, and as I was telling you before, I did it from home. At my laptop, I made changes depending on what the children had learned, what they'd been exposed to that week, and what I was thinking that was upcoming in my lesson plans. I was able to sort of tweak the programs that they were going to be using. And I liked that.
So now I see them focusing on it for much longer periods of time, which is great. So it allows me to teach something to a whole group, and then I can take a particular student and work with them individually, or one of the other assistants can work with them. And it allows them, it's a great supplement, and it's very, very rewarding for them.
Things that we're working on that after I finished an activity, I can then put a student at the table with their iPad and reinforce the lesson that I just taught. And so that's how it's been the most helpful in my classroom. Well, I think what I'm finding in the classroom, especially now that we have it on the iPad, is that it's good reinforcement for particularly the sight word programs, colors and shapes, things that we're working on that after I finished an activity, I can then put a student at the table with their iPad and reinforce the lesson that I just taught. And so that's how it's been the most helpful in my classroom.
Taking our input and using it to build your program, because it's the only way that it will benefit the kids. As you know, buying programs are good, but it's even better when you can actually work with the people who are developing the programs, when they're open to input, to knowing what we have been doing with students previously that has worked or hasn't worked. And the interesting thing about both the Colors program and I Learn and Earn is that it's a reinforcement program. You hone in on the particular skill that you're teaching in the classroom, and then the reinforcement is automatically done by the Colors program or on the iPad. And I find it can be very useful in any type of setting, because in essence you're teaching the skill, whatever the approach is, we're working on the skill. And the kids thoroughly enjoy the interaction that they have with the programs.
I think in the beginning what interested us in it the most was that it was for our reluctant learners. And those were students who were hard to engage at the table or who didn't respond to a large group or small group instruction. So we found that having one staff member sit with a child, they got undivided attention from us, and they were very engaged by the colors and the animation, and the whole program was very engaging for them.
The game-based model for students on the autism spectrum is exactly what works very, very well for them, because they need to be engaged in the program and learn without really knowing that they're being taught.
I think it's a collaborative effort to make sure that we're not overindulging students with technology. This is where we need to call in the subject matter experts, the teachers, the parents, and even the students themselves to really figure out a way to implement technology in the home and the classroom, but regulate it so that it's routine-based, maybe like a schedule, to which they're going to get their iPad for X number of hours in a day instead of just being on it.
They got more used to the routine. They knew they would be on for a certain amount of time. They got very comfortable being on for that time, but with an adult sitting with them. But they were very engaged and very positive. They loved to get on. Got very used to the patterns of the program, and then it had a very nice time. Bye. That worked. I mean, they got that. They love the technology.
I like the reward that you have now on the iPad app as opposed to some of the things that were on the kiosk because they tended to run a little too long. And so now what we're finding is there's a short reward, it's engaging, it's just enough to say, wow, I did a good job, and they're ready to move on to the next activity.
If we look into the statistics, we are finding that in every country, this problem is there. In fact, when Virtual Corporation put certain apps on the mobile, on iTunes and Android, we are finding that the people who are visiting these apps are not only from US alone, globally.
Thank you and goodbye from the I Learn and Earn team.